Steve, who is joining us online, has a question about Obamacare. And Steve says, I'm worried about how Obamacare is going to be implemented and what I'm going to be paying for health care. Is there any effort to still repeal it?
Yes, Steve, the efforts to repeal Obamacare are alive and well. We've had, I can't even keep track of how many votes we've had to repeal it, to defund it since I've been in the Senate, just for the last 2 years or so. So far, we have yet to succeed. The Democrats are still in control of the Senate. The Democrats in control of the Senate really don't want to see Obamacare repealed. Neither does the President of the United States, who was just reelected in November. This presents a problem because this is one of the most dangerous bills ever enacted into law by Congress in the history of our great republic. This could have a catastrophic impact on our economy, and not just our economy, but on individual hardworking Americans like you, whose health care costs are going to go up substantially in most cases. This is not going to make things better for hardworking Americans. It's going to make things a lot more expensive and a lot more frustrating. I do have a fairly simple solution, an alternative route to repealing Obamacare, one that I hope will come up to a vote. I've introduced a bill that is an attempt to undo Chief Justice John Roberts' effective decision to rewrite Obamacare in order to save it. He rewrote it twice, first by calling it a tax when it was in fact enacted as a penalty. And Congress, in fact, tried to enact it as a tax, but it couldn't get the votes to do so, so it enacted it as a penalty. John Roberts rewrote it as a tax in order to save it. Then he also rewrote it by giving the states an opt-out option under the Medicaid expansion provisions, which otherwise would have been unconstitutional and would have caused the whole bill to sink with it. I think John Roberts was wrong to do this as our Chief Justice, and so I have a bill that would undo that. It's a simple bill. Unlike the 2,600-page monstrosity that was passed by Congress after then Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi said, you've got to pass this bill in order to find out what's in it, my bill is only 2 pages long. Here's what it says. In Section 1501 of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act of 2010, also known as Obamacare, Section 1501 being the individual mandate provision, is hereby amended as follows. Nothing in this section shall be construed as a tax or as a valid exercise of Congress's power to tax under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1 of the Constitution, or the 16th Amendment to the Constitution. In other words, it says, regardless of what the Supreme Court thought it saw that made it look like this was a tax, that made it uphold this provision as a tax, it's not a tax. And we withdraw, we repeal any language that can be read to support that reading. If we got rid of that, the rest of the statute would necessarily collapse under its own weight. The rest of the statute would inevitably then be held unconstitutional, because the Supreme Court has already said by a vote of 5-4 that this can't be upheld under the Commerce Clause. It could be upheld only as an exercise of Congress's power to tax. So this would get rid of it once and for all. I would love to get a vote on this.